Kevin, from what you've seen the last two games, what gives you the biggest cause for confidence moving forward from what you saw on the floor?
No, I think we've made a lot of good strides, to be honest with you. The biggest thing for me is just moving forward is just getting these guys a little bit more comfortable playing against zone. Probably because we're going to see it a lot. That was first time since UAB. I thought we attacked the zone better. I thought we got better shots. We just have to get a little bit more comfortable of when to shoot against the zone. I think that's my biggest thing. Guys were a little bit hesitant about when to shoot and what shot to take against the zone. So I think we watch film on it. Guys, I think, have a better sense, and that's going to be the biggest thing moving forward is just getting guys a little bit more comfortable of when to shoot against the zone.
And three-point shooting, you know that these guys can make these shots. What kind of, it's not something you can throw things in a mixing bowl and turn out better shooting, but what kind of things are you guys going to look to do to kind of jumpstart?
Well, one of the biggest things I've been talking on is we need to pass the basketball better. A lot of our guys are making the right pass. They're not making good passes. So they're taking guys out of shots. So guys are open, but we're not throwing good passes. And so we're taking guys out of a good shot and forcing them into a bad shot because of the way we're passing the basketball. So that is something that's been my biggest, what I've been nagging on these guys about is that, to be a great teammate, you got to throw a great pass. And that's not a spectacular pass. That's just a simple chest pass to hit him in his pocket so he can shoot the basketball.
Finally, you guys are facing Ryder, but Big Ten play is on the horizon, 2 games over the next 8 days. What's on the to-do list for you to have this team be in the best possible spot for you guys to open conference play?
I want to see us continue with I think our pressure defense has been pretty darn good all year so far, much better than it was last year. Just numbers-wise, it's been something that's a real strength of ours. So I want to keep building that and keep getting better at that. And then, I think the rotations for me is just getting guys out there and getting them comfortable because we're going to need everyone once Big Ten play comes.
Hey, Coach. You talked about wanting your team to make better passes. Is there anything else that you've been harping on and making a point of emphasis so far this season?
Oh, man, boxing out, transition defense, turnovers, free throws. It's a big list every day, trying to get better on stuff, to be honest with you. But I think one of the biggest things is our guys can control the passing, and I think that's something that I think will help our three-point shooting numbers dramatically if we can just pass the basketball better. Because right now it might be the worst in the country.
Going back to facing a zone defense, what were some of the kind of the major things that you think the guys figured out in the second half on Saturday that allowed them to kind of break into it more?
I thought our big guy spacing in the second half was much better. We went back and watched film. We watched film at halftime and able to show guys where the gaps were in the zone. I think helped them dramatically. In the first half, Jordan was kind of getting lost on the baseline a little bit. I thought he got in much better spots where guys can see him. We were able to hit the baseline. We were able to get some easy twos, and we just didn't have to rely on three-point shooting.
And is Jordan a guy that you kind of like design plays for? Because obviously, he had a lot in the second half, a lot of points in the second half. Or is he kind of just a guy that flows with the offense?
No, I think he's a little bit more of a guy that flows with the offense, but I think guys are getting comfortable with him out there. So again, especially against a zone, we don't call a ton of plays. So I think guys, once he got in the right spot, they're starting to get a lot of confidence about when he does get the ball, something good's going to happen.
Coach, after Villanova, you talked about wanting to have sort of 10 days at home to reset and get into a rhythm. It's been 10 days. I know you have a few more, but in terms of growth, what's your biggest takeaways from these last week and a half been?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we've gotten much more comfortable on the offensive end. Although, obviously we didn't shoot it good the other night. I thought we really did some good things in transition. I thought our transition offense was much better than it was at the beginning of the season. I think we're not turning the basketball over nearly as much because I think we are in a little bit better of a rhythm. So I think the 10 days have given these guys a chance to really just practice and be at home and really focus on basketball and school. And sometimes that's really important early in the year.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that Jordan you feel like he's had a better feel of how you guys want to play here. What adjustments have you sort of seen him make as he sort of turned the page on a rough start?
I think the biggest thing with Jordan, it was just kind of like he was coming from a defense that was totally different than what we play. And then, to go out in the game and all of a sudden, play against, 3 good teams in a row and not be overly comfortable with having played a ton of games. I think the more games we've played, he's gotten more comfortable in what we're trying to do defensively, and that's helped him relax on the offensive end. I think he was a little stressed about, Indiana doesn't switch, we switch. They play pick and rolls differently than we do. So, the first game against Davidson, he did 2 things that I've never done as a coach, but Indiana does. But that's just because game slippage. It was only his second game with us, so he gives up 2 threes. That the other night he was our best defensive player because he was switching out. He was able to use his athleticism. So again, it's just a matter of when in today's college basketball, when you have transfers and guys not sitting out anymore, where guys used to transfer and sit out and have a whole year to kind of get used to what you're doing. They now have, literally 30 practices, and then you jump into a game. So I think that's been the biggest thing with Jordan.
Coach, you mentioned you've taken small strides recently in your guys' games, and obviously you don't want to overlook your next opponent. You want to come out with a win, but you guys became conference play on the road. What is I guess your message to the team, knowing that you guys start conference on the road and these are where the games really count for you?
I don't know. I think all the games count to our fan base. The biggest thing that, again, it's still November, so we have a lot of games left. So the biggest thing we're concentrating on right now is just getting better as a team. And I think Julian's taken some big steps. Dante's starting to play really well at the small forward spot. Jordan's starting to get comfortable. So I've seen some huge steps. As long as we continue that, that's what I'm looking for. So that's been the message. It's just kind of really focusing on continuing to get better, because obviously league play does start really early in the Big Ten, which is December 1st is early. But again, it's a good chance. Going on the road, we didn't play well at Nova. We got to figure a way to play better on the road.
Kevin, how have you adapted your coaching style with, as you mentioned, guys don't sit out a year, and also conference play instead of beginning, first weekend of the new year, it begins the first weekend of December. A lot to teach in a short amount of time. How have you kind of altered to?
Yeah, I haven't. Let's just say I haven't altered well enough. This is really last year was different. Last year I was implementing a new style to everybody. This year, I will alter the way I go year in, year out now much differently, because I thought we'd have much more continuity. I thought the older guys and the younger guys and the new guys would learn a little bit quicker, and I've learned that having 3 guys from 3 different systems and not sitting out I need to do a much better job at the beginning of the year, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just used to having seniors and juniors and guys sitting out and guys being able to, it's just passing things down, and now that's gone. So being a little bit more simpler, there's a lot of things I'm going to change going forward, to be honest. I don't think I've done a good job so far of adapting to the new transfer portal. That's my honest opinion.
Does that aggravate you as somebody who likes to build and likes to
It's
stuff like that?
It's yeah. I mean, it makes it much more difficult to build. I still think it's possible and you can do it. It's just a matter of really this being the second year for me that the portal is like, is there and you got to go into it. I do think you have to adjust your coaching style a little bit to when you go in there and you get 4 different guys, you're going to have a lot more bumps in the road. And I think I have to do a better job of just kind of making sure the bumps are less. It's a pretty honest answer. You're welcome. It doesn't happen often. It's almost like the Australian sports psychiatrist I had coming last week. I had the Zoom meeting with him last week. Thank you, everybody.